on YouTube, so it's being recorded. So any mess ups Brian does, we will have that on.
Be kind.
Yeah, be kind. So if I don't know about the recording, how good it's going to be, so we'll find out. If you do have questions, again, after this, obviously you all came from the meetup. Feel free to post it up on any questions or comments or concerns. We're always looking to bring, obviously, new people, like new topic ideas, even new speakers. If you're good in a certain area within WordPress or that revolves around WordPress, let us know. Not all of us like the topic every single month, so.
Sure. Hey, so I'm Brian Ryder. I am a developer of WordPress. I've been using WordPress since 2007, version 1.5. Kind of followed through its quirks and teen years, and it's just now getting out of its teen-year age, becoming more and more mature with every iteration. So I work here at Reeler. Thanks for coming. I am a sysadmin here now. I just changed over from development to sysadmin role. But what we do here at Reeler, we are a design firm. We do all sorts of web work, print work, media, social media, video, audio, just about anything that comes across our plate, we'll look at doing. So tonight we're going to talk about child themes. I always use the term, don't make babies cry. If you do something that's not the best, not necessarily the best way, but the standardized way, when you don't do it that way, I also say you make babies cry, and no one wants to make babies cry. So don't make babies cry, use a child name. There's my Twitter handle if you have any questions. I'm on there all day. I'll have other contact info at the end of the slides. So what is a child theme? First, I guess before we get started on that, this talk is going to be a very basic level talk, from introduction of what a child theme is all the way to actually creating your own child theme base. I'm going to start you guys off with training how, what's involved with making a child theme. So what is a child theme? Here's from my website, in the dashboard in the appearance tab, it says my name, which is my theme that I've created, which is a child theme of on topic, which is a Woo theme. And a child theme is a theme that inherits functionality from another theme. So it's going to use everything from that parent theme until you override it with something in your child theme. So if you need to change the header, you just create a child theme, create a header file, which I'll get into in a demo, and then you make your modifications there. And then it pulls in the header.php file from your child theme over the parent theme. And again, we'll demo this. I'll show you guys all how to do it. So here's a folder structure. On the left is my parent theme. It's what I got from Woo Themes. I've not modified anything from there. And then over on the right side, that is what my theme, my personal theme on my website consists of. So I have some custom styles. I have a header, a footer, and a functions. And then I have some other miscellaneous stuff inside those folders. But what that does is it allows me to modify that parent theme without any issues for updates. Yes?
I have a question for you. What do you have a CSS folder when the style.css is in?
I like to separate out my CSS styles, so I'll have a print style sheet that's inside a CSS folder. I'll have like an IE8 specific style sheet versus having everything in one file. It just makes it for a cleaner code base, easier to modify and maintain.
Now, is that what we need when we create a child?
No,
okay.
I will get to that.
Okay.
So why use a child theme? You go from this to that. it makes babies not cry, and nobody likes a crying baby. It also prevents losing a lot of updating of your theme. If you've modified the parent theme and they come out with an update, and then you hit that update, you lose everything you've done to that theme, and causes a lot of frustration. It also prevents future developers from doing this to your house.
She looks like she's guilty.
Yeah. So, how do you use a child theme? Question?
No.
Okay. Sorry. I thought I heard something. So, how do you use a child theme? There's required files involved for your child theme. Style.css. It's that easy. There are some things that you have to have in your style sheet. Essentially, you have to name your theme. Again, we'll go over all this in the demo, and I'll actually do it with you guys. You name the theme. You don't have to have the theme URI, but it's recommended. Basically, a place that you can go get information, documentation, or whatever on that theme. If it's just for you, don't worry about it. The description of it, you should have there. The author, I always put there the author URI, just to link out to your page. And then the very important one is this template. Template is the way WordPress knows what the parent is of your child theme. So 2014, that actually matches the folder 2014 of the theme you downloaded, the one that comes with WordPress when you install new. Hey, Lindsay, come here. So again, we'll go over all that, but 2014, it has to match exactly what the folder name is of the parent you want.
Is it case sensitive?
Case sensitive. So are all the keys on the left. So template has to be capitalized. But the name has to match the capitalization of the folder. Very important to remember. Will cause a lot of hair pulling out and banging your head against the wall if you forget about that. Version is just your own versioning system. Whatever you want to use, it'll pick up and use verbatim what's in there. And tags and text domain, they're not necessary, but they're in there in the documentation from WordPress.
What is the tags?
Tags, there's a list of tags that are available on WordPress.org in the codex. But what it does is it allows you to search for this theme. So if you're putting this child theme up on the WordPress repository, you can search for 2 columns, and then this will come up.
Pretty much keywords.
Yeah, essentially they're keywords. And then text domain, all that is a unique domain name, unique name for your theme. And then the next really important part is that import URL. If you don't import the URL for your parent's child or your parent's theme style sheet, you won't have any of the styles from that style sheet. So you have to have the import URL. So when to use a child theme? Yeah.
Sorry, can you go back to the ones like, since we've been developing based on child themes that the authors are working right now, because the add import rule has performance implications because the CSS files will not get downloaded in parallel. So it's not really a, if you can take it away, it's better. So what I did was I took it out and I took all those styles from the main theme and put it on my.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's essentially doing the same thing. So it's
right.
And for speed and performance, yeah, you can do it that way. It's just the WordPress codex recommend doing it this way, and that's kind of the way I teach it to follow the codex. But if right. You want to pull those in, yeah.
But all you're saying here is grab those CSS files.
Right. Grab all the styles from the parent.
Okay. So then that creates your other folder
mm-hmm.
inside your child, and you modify
Yeah, you would modify your child's style in CSS. Yep.
Can you use the child?
They don't recommend it. That gets into grandchild themes, and they don't recommend it. Yes, in theory you can do it, but it's better than not. So when do you use a child theme? Always. Always use a child theme most of the time. And I'll explain what that means here in a minute, but I don't always modify my themes, but when I do, I use a child theme. You want to use a child theme to modify core functionality and behavior of that parent theme. It's essentially if you ever need that functionality, but you think you're ever going to change your theme, that's when you don't want to put it in the theme. But if you're never going to change a theme and you want that, or you want that functionality to go away when you change the theme, that's when you do a child theme. When you don't want to use a child theme is when you're doing a custom post type, or custom fields for your theme, or essentially anything that you don't want affected by changing the theme out. So a custom login page, things like that. A custom way of doing RSS feeds, or anything like that that needs to stick around all the time. That's when you want to do a plugin, which could be another discussion. I think we actually had a discussion 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Dustin talked about 3 months ago, a little while ago.
But you could.
Yes, you could put that in the functionality, but if you change your theme, you will lose that functionality. Make sense?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if I change say, the index or the loop or anything that's in the child thing, or say custom fields, it's all in my child thing. No, parent. Right.
Right. But if you take that loop stuff out and put it in a plugin,
Right.
you won't lose that.
I'm not going to lose it if I keep the child.
That's what I mean.
I don't like my parent, so I get a new parent.
Well, then you're going to have other issues.
Yeah, that's true.
Or your babies.
It's the read it top left to right, bottom right, and it's the DirecTV commercial, don't commercial. I got bored.
I didn't mean to use memes like non-stop. I said, hey, it'd be cool if you included it.
Well, I've done, 6 talks now without any, so I had to make up for it.
Okay.
That's it. I'm going to do a demo now.
Hey.
Yeah.
You have to have the parent installed.
Yes, parent theme has to be installed as well on the site. So, I'm going to do...
That's the question, doesn't it have to be?
No, you can only have one theme active at a time. The folder just has to be, because your child theme will be the active theme, and it'll pull in the information from the folder outside of WordPress. Well, within WordPress, but not.
As long as it's on your server.
As long as it's in the themes installed as a theme.
Is the child theme always active then?
Child theme would always be active if that's your active theme. So I'm just going to go to a site right now that I have set up. All right. So here you can see my active theme is 2011. Okay. I have no child themes or anything like that. I just have a bunch of different themes installed for demoing stuff. But we're going to work with the 2011 theme, just because it's an easy one to work with. It's clean. It's easy. But what I'm going to go over will work with any theme you download, whether it's a premium theme, a free theme, or even a theme you've developed custom. You can create a child theme off of that. So open up this project here. Maybe. It's already up. No. Give it just a minute. We'll start off by going in here, create a new folder. This is going to be our theme name. So we'll just call it Dayton WP.
So it doesn't have the parent name dash child.
It can be anything you want. Standard conventions are either the name of the project, like the name of the website, or the parent dash child, or parent dash name of the website. Typically, I'll just do the name of the website. So with that folder, and I refresh this themes page, down here at the bottom, you can see that it's showing up already, but it's showing up as a broken theme. The nice thing about this is it's going to tell me what's wrong. Why is it broken? Well, the style sheet's missing. So this opens up.
How long has that been active in WordPress?
The broken theme?
I'd say like 3.
Maybe I've just never had broken themes. I've just never noticed it.
Yeah.
Or I've never seen it.
I think it's been in the 3.0 series.
Okay.
I went through the straight 3.0.
Yeah. Because that 3.0 was a major update for them, unlike 4.0. That's another story. You can watch that on WP Decoded.
I'll talk about that.
So, what is all this? Oh, so here, that's why. Okay. What is all this stuff? So here are my themes. This is the same folder that I just created. I'm not trying to change anything on you guys. I'm going to create a styles.css. And there's my styles page. So now if I go back here, still style sheet is missing. So why is that? One, I want to make sure it's styles and not style, because I always do that wrong. It is style.
That's because you need the header.
Right. So, and the other reason it's actually style.css, not styles.css.
So that matters?
Yeah.
Okay.
It looks for style.css.
That was a good way to point that out.
Yeah.
But did on purpose, right?
Yeah. Every time I do it on purpose. So now we get a better message. Template is missing. So it doesn't know what this is. So that's where I always go to the WordPress codex. Child themes. Just codex.wordpress.org/child_themes. And here they give you a nice little template to work with. So I'm going to paste that there. My template name is Dayton WordPress. Theme URI will be DaytonWP.com, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's our site. Check it out, it's awesome.
No.
Dayton
Good luck.
WordPress
Not really.
website child. The description, just a general description. My information here. And then here's the important part. Remember, we're doing the 2011, so I'm going to match that folder name. I'm going to make this 0.0.1. Tags, I'm just going to leave as light. It's good enough for now. Again, you don't have to have those. Text domain is Just basically, it's a namespace for your child theme, your theme. Namespace just kind of prefaces everything as this. Dayton WP, and then I want my 2011. If I could type. So now, if I go back here and refresh, you can see the broken theme is gone. But if we go up here, there's my theme. So if I look at the website currently, again, I've not changed themes. It's still the 2011 theme. But I go here, you can see it. It's the standard information, everything like that. Essentially, clean install. I just have some plugins that I've been training with and developing on my own installed. Now I'm going to activate our child theme. And what this is going to do is absolutely nothing. It's going to look identical because we've not overridden anything. So let's say for...
What it's just done is import this style sheet
right,
from 2011.
Right, and it's using all of the 2011 files. So the header.php, the footer.php, right. So, well, kind of. We can kind of come in and edit those. So you can see in the Dayton WP, it's still just my style.css. So let's say we want to get rid of this search bar, and that's in header.php of the parent theme. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, I'm going to grab header, I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it into my theme. Okay, so still, refresh this page, nothing's changed. But I can now edit this file and not worry about if they ever update 2011, which they do still on occasion. So come down here, I want to find my search. I can never remember exactly where it's at. Right here. So I want to just get rid of that. So I can delete that, not have any issues, refresh this, and now my search is gone. Oh, get search form. All right. Let's just get rid of this whole if else block, because that's not needed anymore, because we're getting rid of all the search. So now my search is gone. But just to prove that I've not modified anything else, if we switch back to 2011, refresh, my search is there. So that was a really basic example. But what you can do, a lot of these themes come with the standard footer stuff, powered by WordPress. You may not want that. So I can go get my footer now. I got rid of the search, go to my parent theme, grab the footer, go back up here, and get rid of that link. Now if I refresh that link's done. But all the functionality is still there. So you look at it, it's got get the 2011 credits. So I could still hook into this action of 2011 credits. And typically you do that in a functions file. So instead of going into this functions file, I don't need to copy this entire functions file over to my child theme. It's going to pull in these functions as well as my functions. So functions.php, what is it? Action. Do action. What is hook? I'm going to hook into that action.
There's a site search for that.
Yeah, I do too.
Don't you have a keyboard macro so you don't have to think about that? Come on. You press this. While you're doing that,
I'm drawing a blank on it.
while you're doing that, one of the things that helped me to grasp child themes was that child themes will do anything to your site that you want them to do, and nothing else will will happen insofar as you said, when you make the edit, put a few more, whatever, whatever changed has changed, but nothing else has. And they have a hard time grasping the fact that if you don't change it, it won't change. But if you want to change it will. I know that sounds redundant, but
if you screw up the file completely, you can just dump it and grab it back and
Yep,
replace
exactly. So you're never overwriting anything in the parent theme. So once I get done with this, I will give you a nightmare story about child themes and not having them. So I want to just echo. I don't know if this is going to work, but we'll try. That's what live demos are all about, right? So this is getting a little bit out of the scope of things, but essentially this is setting up an action so I can hook into it. If you don't know what hooking into is, check out hooks and filters on the WordPress codex. But essentially it's calling out saying, hey, is anyone listening for the 2011_credits action? And here in my functions file, I'm saying I want to add an action to any time that is being called, the 2011_credits. So that do action is going to say, hey, someone's listening, run this function. And all I'm doing is echoing out 2011 credits, just to show it. So what that's going to do is when it hits this, it's just going to echo out 2011 credits. So if everything works and my mind is correct, you'll see 2011 credits there. Worked the first time. So again, that's a little beyond the scope of this, but it's worth looking into hooks and filters.
When you do this, is it, you have a method over here, a function over here in the child, is it completely blank? Or can you call the parent from the child?
No, you can't. It's not object-oriented that way. You can't call the parent's function inside of your function name the same thing. But if you have your function called something else, you can obviously call the function of the parent because it's not the same name.
And if both the parent and the child have added the action,
both of them would run at the same time. Yeah. Now with
Is the parent also active at the same time? Child?
the child is the only active theme, but it's pulling in all the information from the parent. But yeah, the only active theme is the child. Now, some themes are developed to be used as a parent theme. 2011, I believe, is not. The way you can tell, yeah. So a theme that is developed as a parent theme, you'll see a lot of if function exists with some function name. Okay? And actually you'll see it as this, if function does not exist. So if not function exists, function name, and then they'll wrap that around their function. So function name. Again, this is getting a little more advanced, but echo hello. And I'm just going to call that function here. So if all this is working right, it should say hello down here. Okay. So act like these lines are in the parent theme. We're just going to ignore them now. If I'm developing a theme that I know is going to be used as a parent theme, I'll wrap all my functions like that. That way, when you develop a child theme, say I want to rewrite what that function does, in my child theme, I can just do this. And echo out something else, or have a completely different function that runs. So now if we look at it, because this is a child theme, in theory, you'll see it says there. So what's happening there is I've defined the function, some function name. it's getting to this line saying, hey, does some function name exist? Yes, it does. Ignore this block of code. So it's not going to run the parent theme function. But again, if I get rid of that and I don't override it, it switches back to hello, which is the functionality of the parent. Sorry that got a little technical and in-depth, but it's kind of what I do because I'm a developer. I'm sorry, but it's important things to know. At least somewhere in the back of your head, you'll think when you're developing a theme, you'll see that if not function exists, oh, I can rewrite what this function does. And it might be as simple as just echoing out a string, but it could be as complex as how a page gets rendered. Anyone lost? Be honest.
I'm
Okay.
totally lost.
All right.
This is not something that I do. I
Okay.
just go in and I type it. That's what I do. So it's all fascinating and not getting in there kind of way.
All right.
That's okay.
Any,
Can I ask you a question
Yeah,
though, from
of course.
a blogger's perspective? So what is the difference between .com and .org?
.com is a hosting solution, so it's hosted by WordPress, by Automatic.
Okay.
It's on their servers. It's free to sign up and use, but you're very limited on what you do.
Okay.
You can't put in your own themes. You can't do child themes. You can't add plugins. You can't, like, there's
You
a
can't
lot of
change the style,
restrictions.
CSS.
Okay.
WordPress.org you download WordPress.
Let me put it in layman's terms, because they did it up at WordCamp in Columbus.
Okay.
So, .com is like leasing a house or apartment. All right, you get to buy the house, so you can paint the house you want. You sort of got to take what you get.
Okay. So
And
I like
.org
that,
you have
thank you.
yeah, .org you have to host it yourself.
okay.
You can upload the WordPress.
What's that?
You can upload the WordPress.
Well, .com is the WordPress is already there.
Yeah.
But depending on how much, like, I like the analogy with the leasing, you have to pay for every single upgrade
So you can modify the styles, but you
Yeah.
pay $35
a year.
a year.
So if I own the domain name and I can go to post those
Right.
That's what I'm
.org.
Yeah.
.org.
Yeah.
And then would I find someone who actually does sell?
It depends. If you find a theme that you like and can modify a lot of things, you can modify a lot of things from the dashboard,
Okay.
and those aren't going to be overridden by an update
Maybe.
if it's a good theme.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff is stored in the database if it's developed.
Correct. And that goes back to the discussion of where do you purchase themes.
Right.
We've all probably searched for, we got this project, we got this website we want to build. I want a theme to make it look like this. So you type in WordPress, sports theme, and you see all of these free themes, or maybe you might see some on Theme Forest. Yeah. And they just might not be coded correctly. So when WordPress does update like they usually do, it could break your site. Or if you want to change your site around, say there is a custom CSS included, and all of a sudden they say, you know what, we want to update the theme to current WordPress standards. All of a sudden now your custom CSS could be broken if it's not developed correctly. And this goes back to the importance of a child thing. Because if you do create that child thing, any changes you want done, you do in the child, you're basically living your life through your child. That's the best for children. So it's easier to do it that way than screw the parent up.
Since you've gone down this path, could you share where you buy themes, where we found are the reliable, well-built themes?
I build all my themes from scratch. I don't.
Okay, we can do that. We can.
We just love copy and paste right up
You're a
there.
developer, right?
I didn't talk to you, Brian.
So I use a service. Well, it's not really a service. It's just a website that builds a template for me. It's called underscores, UNDERSCORES, underscores with an S.com. What that does is it builds a framework theme. It's not, I'm not buying something off the shelf. It sets up all my files for me with basic loop. It's unthemed, unstyled. It gives me an HTML5 reset. All the things that I would typically do anyways, it just does it.
Saves you time.
Right. It saves me about half a day.
It doesn't reinvent the wheel.
Exactly.
It fully complies with what WordPress says are the best practices.
And
Always
last Friday, they just started using Sass, which is amazing that they started doing. Sass is a compiled CSS, essentially, that you compile it. It's very out of scope for this, but
That'll be January's meeting, right?
yeah, right. You talking about it?
No. I'm just helping you to get out of that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So underscores is a great framework.
Yeah, underscores, and that's what it is. It's a framework. If you don't develop your own themes, though, there's Woo themes, which
premium.
Yeah, it's premium and it's decent enough. There's some quirks. Woo themes, WOO.
Yeah.
There are quirks to it, things I don't like about it, but they work. It's a good jumping off point for child theme development. And they have the not builder.
CoudaPress has the page builder that's on top. Canvas.
Yeah, the
Or
standard.
is it the other way around?
No, Canvas is on Woo.
iThemes is another location to get premium themes. They have, why can I not think of things today? Builder. Builder theme, which is a framework kind of like underscores. It just kind of gives you the core functionality of iThemes themes, and you can build child themes on top of that. And then really the WordPress repository, all free themes. Everything on there is free. Because they have to go with coding standards, for the most part, you have to, in order to put a theme up there, I think you still have to use the theme check plugin, which checks for standards and checks for things. You're going to get pretty close to what WordPress likes in their themes. And again, those are all free. And they are a really good place to do child themes from.
They also have paid themes, but they're relatively cheap. I mean, $60 and
right.
So and they're pretty good too. So.
And then I know we just kind of dissed on Theme Forest. However, I don't, depending on the client's budget, I don't use the themes from Theme Forest. I'll buy the HTML and then build my own theme from that HTML. That way I know exactly what's going in that WordPress theme. I've seen quite a few people doing that lately, actually.
When you say you buy the HTML, what is that?
So themeforest.net. Everyone knows you can go here and get like pre-built WordPress themes, and this is just a install. It's a zip file, just like you would install any theme. But what I'll do is I'll go to like my HTML, and I'll go to corporate. Let's look at this first one. So what this is it's just HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It's not a WordPress theme. So I'll take all of that code and make the WordPress theme out of it. That way it fits with my coding standards, and I know exactly what I'm getting from it.
So you're able to marry the vision that they present with your underscores framework.
Yep.
Cool.
So how do you install this? Do you create your folder in your WordPress installation and save each file in that folder?
No, I'll actually have two code editors up. I'll have my theme folder in WordPress, and then I'll have all of these files elsewhere. And then I'll just basically copy lines of code from over here into my theme.
And also, when you mix those three, CSS, PHP, and HTML, you got a better, higher SEO ranking.
How so?
Unless because of the custom. Because now you want the custom. The way you're describing to bypass.
But the HTML isn't being uploaded. The HTML files aren't being uploaded to the WordPress folder. Just the code.
Right. So I'm not actually copying the actual files to WordPress. I'm pulling parts from those files
Just
and
looking
putting
for
it in other
just like
files.
combining,
Yeah.
right? But just looking for combining.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm confused. SEO is not either about files.
Right.
So how is that better?
It's just the things that exit key aspects.
Because you can have 50 CSS and 4,000 HTMLs, and that is not going to impact negatively or positively. It's your way.
To play devil's advocate, it could, depending on load time.
Yeah, no, but I'm not talking about on actual performance or rendering on the browser. I'm just talking about like the files.
Right.
The server access files. But still, you can have that many files and still have good performance, right? So, as files, I mean, you can talk about millions of images, millions of HTML files, millions of CSS files, and in one single folder, and that is not going to affect your SEO in any way. It's what happens on the browser is what, regardless of what's in the server, is what impacts your SEO. When the browser creates the HTML, that's what the box do, regardless of CSS structure, CSS files.
But they do read CSS. And,
No.
yeah.
No.
They read CSS now.
No, they read through bots. No, they don't read CSS.
Google just came out and said they did.
And why are they reading CSS if it's a coding language, right? This is
I don't know what the SEO aspect. Same thing with the SSL script that just came out.
I suspect it has to do with load time. But if they're evaluating load HD, it's a part of SEO.
right. But reading CSS, how's background red affect SEO as well? What I'm kind of trying to.
They may be checking for link baiting inside the CSS.
If you're displaying, if you have the HTML built in and you're displaying none, but it's still there.
But displaying none is not a negative by any means.
If I have a white background with white text, I'm hiding text.
Right. But
And that's another topic.
Yeah,
I mean, because I do SEO for my job, so I mean, there's black hat, there's white hat, and there's that gray area with SEO. And that's a discussion to itself. So, but with this, yeah, to your point, yeah, we're only using the PHP files, the CSS files, more or less for the child, right? Or themes in general.
Yep. Or adding your own JavaScript stuff to it. You need different functionality. If you're adding a slider that's part of your theme, and you want to add that, well, I guess slider's a bad thing because that would be more plugin. You want to do it. But if you didn't want to do it as a plugin, you could make that part of your child theme, map JavaScript via your child theme, your functions. Inside your functions, they would add to the dashboard, the custom post type, or however you want to do it. But it would all still use functionality of the parent as well.
So when you upgrade the theme, when they come out with a higher end theme, the one that you have, it's just updating the parent.
The parent. It
And
never touches your files.
But what if you want it? What if you look at that and you say, oh man, I really want that for my
That's
child.
when you, like, if the header, we modified it. If there's a change in the 2011 header that you need, you'd have to basically file merge between your header and their header and pick out what you want from their header and put it in.
So manually copy and paste.
Yeah.
Okay.
And most of the time when you're doing the child theme, you're not rewriting the entire theme. It's little changes like I just did.
Yeah.
Pull the search bar.
Yeah.
Or modify the footer, things like that.
Okay.
If you're modifying a whole bunch of stuff, you'd probably want to start with your own.
I got kind of a beginner question. When you were talking about the WordPress.org and how that's better to use, are you talking about just installing WordPress on your computer and not going through, let's say I go through, like say GoDaddy or whatever, not install it from there, install it on your computer and then just upload it to your hosting?
Yeah, so what you're talking about is the auto installers on GoDaddy hosting or DreamHost hosting. I don't recommend those, mainly because you don't know what they've added to it.
Okay.
They could have added their own data to those installers. They could have added site checks or scripts that do monitoring for their website. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. It could slow down your page speed. So I suggest always upload this or upload a
So
clean
just
version from
load on
WordPress.
your computer, FTP it up to.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's
Makes
the flip side of that, though. So when WordPress updates, you have to be a million sites at once. You're not getting advantage of, like I use Bluehost. Bluehost get stuff. It's 4.0 comes out in a couple of weeks. It's just there.
Yeah.
I don't have to do anything. I'll get an email that says that my site's gone.
Yeah. However, it's very simple. If you look at the dashboard, you just go to updates here. I think this one will actually work with 392. Yeah. So all you have to do is click update now, and it's going to update core for me. And that's essentially what DreamHost and GoDaddy are doing. They're probably using multi-site, so they have one WordPress install.
Yeah, I use a company called DirectNet, and basically when I first started using it, I went down through their dashboard, loaded it that way. And I wanted to change something on there. It's like, well, I can't get to what I want, so I FTP'd the whole site to my computer. And I didn't realize that I could have just loaded WordPress on my computer and put it on there.
Yep.
With the updates, again, so just basic blog posting, you're saying that it could change some things for a coder, it could change, or even for someone going in, blog post.
Yeah, content, it shouldn't affect content at all.
Now, depending on how your theme, it could change the layout of your content.
Right.
But again, you're using a free thing via WordPress.org or premium ones, say Blue or iThemes or whatever. They're usually asterisk there. Usually.
So you said, like, if I wanted to start coding and this kind of information, like, I don't have it on there.
Well, if you have a site, like you're blogging and you're going, I really want to change how this looks. I want to make the title stand out. I want to change it a different color. Now, you can do that within the parent or your theme's CSS, but as soon as that theme is updated, guess what? What you just did is now lost. So now, if we were just like with Brian's demo, if you just wanted to change that one line on that style CSS, you don't ever have to worry about it.
So yeah, like if we want to make this bigger, yellow, it's just as easy when we figure out which. I think it's an H1 in there. It should be an H1. Yeah. Site title. So in my style now, I can just do. Site title. Is it 90? Yeah. Thank you. I can just do that, and now, oh, sorry. site title.
Maybe not.
Yeah, he's a developer on his side. And then, from my personal experience, working just with the style CSS is the best way to embrace a child themed functionality. Not to say functionality. The style CSS is the best place to start when you're trying to embrace a child theme, because you can muck it up like crazy and then pull it away and it's back to normal. Like, well, that's not hooking up. That's really cool there. But yeah.
Okay.
So are you guys saying, so you've got the WordPress theme, the thing,
Right.
and you're kind of going in and you're creating like a second theme that you can play with?
More or less, yeah.
Okay.
You're creating a child that you can screw up in the world, and then kind of take it out if you want to.
Run it in, you can take it out.
Okay.
That essentially has your genes, so.
Right.
For what you're trying to do, though, I don't see, I mean, this is, you don't need to go there.
Yeah, it's like.
But again,
you
it's
know, literally.
on a basic level, if you ever wanted to change just some of the, how it looked,
Okay.
just by creating a style sheet, you know, folder, see it in style CSS, you can do fantastic things like this.
You got a link to that?
They took me out.
Yeah.
I was really sad.
Yeah, and before you ever get to this step, in a lot of the themes, if you have a custom theme, there will be built-in settings and adjustments that may let you make the type really big and bright yellow like that without having to change the code. A lot of the custom themes have lots of options for that.
Used to going in and modifying code. That's the first thing I want to do is like press it.
Yep. So a lot of people will go into this editor here, and I actually turn that off on the developer because you're modifying core files essentially, and you never want to modify core.
Well, you're modifying the child.
Well, now you want it.
Yeah.
But you can't create a child theme through.
No.
So.
Maybe down the road.
I've got 3 sites I gotta redo.
Yeah.
I was about to go in there.
Stepping away a little bit from the development part that we're talking about here, and this might be a good subject to talk about for the bloggers, the people who are not technical. And I know you're a WordPress lover. It's been said that the internet is powered, the sites on the internet, 10% of those are powered by WordPress.
23%.
So it's incredibly popular.
Yes. Very.
So thus making it high target for hackers and people that exploit its vulnerabilities and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
What is your take on this situation, and how does WordPress, as a developer, not as a WordPress lover, compare, good or bad, whatever, take it, with other CMSs?
WordPress has a very large community, so when there are security bugs that come up or any kind of bug that comes out with the WordPress core, it would be fixed, I'd say within a day, typically, because of the size of the community that is involved with it. And you also have sites like CNN, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, big name companies, eBay, they all use WordPress. So, was that
Microsoft's one?
Yeah, Microsoft.
MIT.
So, yeah, name tons of big companies that use it, and they're not going to stand for those kind of security risks. So the Automatic team, as well as the community, they're going to fix it instantly.
And the most recent update
to
3.9.2, WordPress actually worked with another CMS, Drupal.
First time ever.
Right, and it said, hey, here's a fix that affects both of us. And it was, they pushed that button and it updated in Drupal and it updated in WordPress. So WordPress is not a, okay, if you only love WordPress, you can only love WordPress. We're here to help everybody. If this can relate to Drupal people or users, that's fine.
My company uses Drupal management system.
Yeah.
But you're saying though that the use of child themes doesn't increase or change your security?
It can decrease it if you cause it to be decreased. Like you can put code in there that gives backdoors. You can make WordPress not secure by your child theme, but if you're creating a child theme for your website, I assume you don't want to do that. So just changing styles like this and stuff, you're not going to cause any more security risks.
The security risk would then be in the actual PHP or the function file?
Anywhere.
Anywhere? But
Yeah, functions would be a big one.
Yeah.
But I mean, like there are the most popular CMSs, content management systems. You got your WordPress, obviously. You got Drupal that I mentioned, but you also got the Joomla.
Sorry.
Yeah, no.
Reflex.
It was kind of tough for me to even say it.
Mambo is easier.
Yeah. So I mean, and I've used. I can't speak on Drupal as much, but I've used Joomla for years before I got into WordPress, and the support with Joomla was horrible from my experience. And I was just getting into development, and I was just doing SEO niche websites. WordPress, I think I got hacked. 2 days later, there's a update to WordPress, 2.7 or something. So I found it more secure because they were finding these bugs quicker and doing something about it. Now I can't speak on the other ones.
And there's for the non-developer side, there's plugins like brute force security and things that will help out with hackers of your specific website getting in there and modifying stuff. But I mean, honestly, it's the web. If you can block it, you can hack it. There's no 100% guarantee that you can stop a hacker. If there was, there would be no hackers or the spam or anything like that.
They're running magazines, printed magazines.
Yeah, that's about the only way you can stop a hacker.
Yeah.
Now, truth be told, I built a basic PHP site, not powered by anything, just basic 5 pages, and got hacked.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, not like just 5 pages, but I could see some files. I was like, what is these things? And I would open one of those files and say, I was here, whatever.
Yeah.
So it was not WordPress.
Right.
Related anyway, it was just the hosting service. So even your WordPress installation can be that solid, secure. You still have another variable, which is your hosting, your connections, your local, your home connection, right? So, yeah.
I mean, like Brian mentioned, there are plenty of options. Don't use user admin. Don't have a password marked password.
Right.
No, but if you have a 7 at the end, you're good.
But not 8.
8? No, because hackers know that. They don't know the 7 yet. But there are plugins out there like brute force, limit login attempts.
Better WP security.
Yeah, iTunes has one. Can't think of the name.
WordPress has kind of,
yeah.
It does log in and lock down. I mean, it kind of combines a bunch of stuff.
And what these do is, if someone's, because everybody kind of knows if it's a WordPress site, they can look at the source code and go wp-admin and start trying to guess. So with that, after some of these plugins, what they'll do is actually block that IP for 24 hours or whatever. So that kind of helps that security issue. And I've had client sites where they tried to hack into it, and because of those plugins, they weren't able to. But they got in at one time. And it only takes one time, so it's really go, how the hell did they do that? But yeah. But yeah, so it's always good to make sure everything is up to date. That's a big key. Okay.
I'm just going to keep adding stuff here.
Oh, great. All right, I guess we can wrap tonight up unless we want to keep on making.
Hey, Todd, How many people go to work here? This is
Blink is gone.
Why?
Brian?
What's that?
How many people go to work here? Beautiful facility.
43 here, 6 in Chicago, and 2 in New York. Yeah, this is home office.
Oh, okay.
I have a question on another premium group, Elegant Themes. Have you had much?
I have an account with Elegant Themes. I got rid of it. I never really used it, and I guess their developer version, the ones that provide PSCs, don't provide PSCs. So I downloaded them all and canceled the subscription.
I just from the standpoint of like Woo, Canvas is the go-to Canvas. I can't think what the one would be for Elegant, but Divi maybe?
Elegant doesn't have one.
Divi is probably the closest of things.
I don't think they have an official framework.
Yeah. I just started using them. So I'm sad about this. Because I work with designers who they go, oh, we like this thing, but we want to develop it to look like this. Well, there's nothing to take it from that to this.
As far as the PFD.
Yeah, so it's basically, now I got to start from scratch. Why use it?
Right.
Thank you all for coming out. I hope you guys learned something about child things that always, sometimes, mostly use them.
And don't make babies cry.
And don't make babies cry, unless they're not yours and for this matter. Again, we meet the second Thursday of every month. Next month, we're working on a panel discussion, so it's going to be open-ended. So if you do have specific questions, come on in and feel free to ask them, and we'll maybe toss up your problem up online or something, or up on the thing, so we can actually work through it.
Yeah.
I have a great one.
Just write it down.
You never get tweeted. You never get shared.
I was going to share it. I was not.
Okay.
So it involves 2011 theme and a client, and the developers before me, they decided they wanted to change the way the theme looked completely from the 2012. Took the 2012 theme, basically stripped it down, rebuilt the styles, the HTML, CSS, everything about it, and then uploaded it still as the 2012 theme. And that was 6 versions of it of the 2012. And we've told the client first times not to update it.
Yeah,
Find an update.
Lost it. Went back to the 2012 theme. So luckily, back up your WordPress site.
Their
Very
content is
important.
still there.
Yeah, content was there,
They're
but
fine.
Yeah. All right.
What did you build your presentation?
slides. It's slid.es. And it uses a JavaScript library called reveal.js. It's really nice. Really nice because go into that URL on your mobile device will follow along with me.
So responsive then?
Yeah. So any
Do you have a client version you built?
Yeah, certain type styles you can call it. It's in
it's all web-based.
Yeah, exactly. So
And you export it
They
out?
just changed it since this morning. Yeah, you can.
thank you again for coming. We'll come next month.
You can
If
export
you have
it
any
all.
questions or you want topics, we meet up. And
we can run this all locally.
WordCamp, some of us have actually been to WordCamps. Most recent was Columbus. The next one is actually this weekend in Grand Rapids. And I think it's Grand Rapids. Yeah, Grand Rapids.
How can I find out about it?
Just Google WordCamp. But it's like central.wordcamp.org. Basically, it's take like this presentation, but make it all day, and with a lot of people that are interested in WordPress, like you are. Another one that's coming up in first weekend of October is in Ann Arbor, which is actually just a 3-hour drive, which is and supposedly it's going to be nice. It's the first one, second one,
First.
first.
What's
So
that?
that's the first weekend of October, the 4th, 3rd, and 4th.
Second, third.
Yeah, whenever. The first weekend. It's our old dates. So yeah.
Ann Arbor in 3 hours?
I
I know, I didn't know that.
think that's
Less
what
than, yeah.
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 That's when I Googled it, I told my wife that. So I hope I'm not wrong. October 4th. There we go.
Oh, it's only one day.
Yeah. In fact, there's some speakers in here. So.
Add another hour.
Oh yeah.
It's 3 hours to Toledo. Ann Arbor is
Oh,
Detroit.
really?
But if you're able to make
You live
it,
north, that's right.
those that went to Columbus or other work camps will vouch. The cost is very minimal to what you get, $20 to $40 for an all-day conference. And there are actually automaticians, people who actually work for WordPress there that you can, or developers that you can sit down and say, hey, I got a problem. They will sit down for 3 hours and walk through everything.
Wow.
And you don't get a bill at the end of the 3 hours. So. Okay. Well, that's it. Thank you for coming. Hope to see you guys next month.
Thank you.
Pleasure, man. So, yeah, you